Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Hello again and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. I am Philip Sidney, your host. Today's topic is agriculture biotechnology. Simply put, biotechnology in agriculture. We have had some discussion in that topic some months ago, but we thought it was interesting to come back again to really sensitize the public about the future of our agriculture as far as biotechnology is concerned. With me in studio are two gentlemen who are well poised to discuss that topic. To my immediate right is Cletus Alexander, who is the supervisor for Region 8 attached to the Extension and Advisory Services Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture. Mr. Manus Cherry, who is the agronomist attached to the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime we hear about biotechnology, we hear biochemicals, we hear all these things. Over the years, it always comes down to the negativity. People think it's something negative, something to do with destruction and stuff like that. But we know better. Tell us, what is really biotechnology, Manus?
Well, biotechnology can be any technology application with the use of biological systems, especially systems to do with breeding, and also with the use of living organisms. Mm-hmm. We know plant, animal, fungi, and so on. You would use these in order and also its derivatives. So you have derivatives of fungi in particular to make and modify products.
So what really are the advantages of biotechnology in agriculture?
Well, biotechnology can help with increasing food production, whether it be plants or animals. Biotechnology can help enhance the conservation of material. Of course, all which may be plant genetic material or animal genetic material.
Okay, I know that the Sustainable Development Division is also working in tandem with the Ministry of Agriculture. There is a committee, both of you are on the committee. Please tell us what is the committee is all about and in terms of the objectives of that committee.
Well, biotechnology, and if you have to talk about modern biotechnology, where you have the persons now can take genes from species that are not related. In the past, probably 50, 100 years ago, it was more related to species that are related. Another problem there. But now, the problem is you take genes from organisms that are not related. So, there is certain risk in that. It's not certain as to what the risks are. And it's very important now to manage the products of biotechnology because we need to approach it with caution. Anytime there is not full scientific information as to what is going to happen, you need to approach such with caution. And the biosafety project is basically trying to manage the safe handling of those products. Remember that was safe handling. It's very important that we try and reduce some of the risks that can be posed by products of biotechnology.
So tell us, give us an example of some of the risks that we have to be comfortable with.
Okay. You may have certain risks to agriculture and the environment. Mm-hmm. Now, the products of biotechnology, remember I said you can take genes from animals that are not related. Mm-hmm. You may, take for example, decide to have fertilizer-enhanced rice. Mm-hmm. You may add certain genes to, to a crop of rice that will help that rice utilize fertilizer better. Now, in terms of the environment, in terms of somebody eating those stuffs, you're not sure whether the nutrient content of whatever you're developing will be the same or whether it's going to change, because you add in new ingredients to such. And anytime you have new ingredients to something, you have to analyze the risk. What's new about whatever you put in there? Is it capable of causing harm to anybody? At what level of exposure? So it's very important that we approach these things with caution. Mr. Sidney.
So how did that all come about? Like I said, going back to sustainable development, working hand in glove with the Ministry of Agriculture, how did that whole thing, where did that process start off to come to the fore, to tell people about biotechnology?
Well, biotechnology has been going on for many years. Before, the traditional biotechnology would include breeding plants via somaclonal variation, plants for example. So they would have the plants growing under laboratory conditions for extended periods, and you'd select just one plant after selection that would give you different characteristics that does not happen in nature. For example, a plant that can resist and tolerate drought. But now, as a result of climate change and other factors, scientists and researchers have realized that plants are the need and the demand for plants is even more. So hence the reason why, for example, they would select ecotypes, plants that can grow near the beaches, in the saline soils, plants that grow high up in the mountain with certain traits that the domesticated plants don't have. So they will do the breeding according to the resistance and tolerance of to the stress, biotic or abiotic stress.
So does that equate us to the what you call the smart agriculture that we actually spoke about some months ago?
Of course it does. It has. Of course it does, because when you're talking about smart agriculture, you're able to use now hybrids of plants in certain conditions. You're able to use hybrids in open areas where they would not need that amount of rainfall. You know, they're drought resistant. For example, you'd use plants which are resistant to certain diseases. For example, in terms of the coconut, maybe plants that are resistant to lethal yellowing disease, which is a dreadful disease now in the Caribbean.
So, okay, it boils down to the farmer. Because what we're talking about is to me, it's high tech. All right. How are you all able to relate to the farmer? Have you all been able to get the farmer to buy into all of this so that he understands the benefits or repercussions down the road?
Yeah. As Mana said, biotechnology is not new. And these two terms go together, biotechnology and biodiversity. Now, biodiversity provides the tools for biotechnology. Our ancestors, they were engaged in biotechnology, in that they bred certain species that were hardier and more productive. Take for example, I think 100 years ago, most of the plants that we have, they tasted different in 100 years ago. Now, in the coming 100 years, they will still be different because of breeding. So in terms of sensitizing the farmers and so on, yes, we have to make the farmers understand that climate, take for example, the whole process of climate change and food production. It is projected that in the next 50 years, the population of the world will be 9 billion. And certain countries will have to increase their food production, take for example, by 300%, Africa. Now, how will you do that? Will you have enough land to cultivate what will be necessary? Will you have enough land? No, you will not have. Now, technologies like biotechnology, you can embrace those technologies to increase production. So all how you increase production and the farmer's productivity, the farmer will have to make more money. So once the farmer the whole essence of farming is to make enough money so you can feed yourself and feed your family. So yes, we out there educating the farmers as to the appropriate technologies that they should embrace to make sure that they have enough dollars and cents to feed their families.
So what methodology is being used to sensitize the farmer? Are you all having meetings? Are you all having, for example, demonstration plots, looking at method demonstrations, result demonstrations? How is that technology being transferred? But before you answer that question, we are due for a break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. We are due for a break. We'll be back soon.
Agriculture, one of the pillars of St. Lucia's economic development, creating opportunities for earning a living for the farmer and his family. From the field to the kitchen, the St. Lucians are finding creative ways of using fruits, crops, and vegetables grown locally, from local seasonings to special brews, from aquaculture to the cultivation of local herbs for export. A strong agriculture industry strengthens the economy. The country needs your support, so buy local.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. We're discussing biotechnology, a big word, but it's, I suppose, can be dissected by our two gentlemen on the program today. Like I said prior to the break, the methodology used to really educate and sensitize the farmer. So at the end of the day, he knows exactly what he's dealing with and what the results are. So what are those methodologies used?
Well, in that regard, we know the Ministry of Sustainable Development is helping a lot. It's helping boost our agriculture ministry. What we have done, me myself, I have gone out to perform some class presentations with students. You know, when you look into educating a society, first of all, you need to target the younger generation. And we have done presentations in biotechnology, and presently, this subcommittee from the Biosafety Committee responsible for public awareness and education is also doing sensitization work in different communities in the multipurpose center and the different social environments. For the Ministry of Agriculture, Extension Division, of course, is always on board, and they are the ones going out there and asking the farmers and advising them, exchanging knowledge as to comparing certain plants. For example, hybrids with traditional plants. What would be the agricultural practice that would be best? So all these methods are part of the mechanism used to educate.
So you're telling me now, if I happen to go on a farm and can I question a farmer and he's able to tell me yes, he is okay with the biotechnology mechanisms that you're passing on?
Well, as you said, one thing about the Ministry of Agriculture is that we have a very strong extension and advisory service. We do a lot of method demonstrations out there, and we are engaged in collection of data. So whenever we have new varieties and stuff, we go out there, we make the comparisons as to whether it makes sense to bring any other new variety. We compare what we have and what we're bringing in. So by then you can make an estimation as to whether what the technology that you have is what's appropriate for him.
Okay. What's happening to, for example, the people like the Renican companies that are bringing in seed material for the farmer? How does that impact on your biodiversity? How does that impact on your biotechnology?
Well, especially for crops that are openly pollinated, you find in terms of how safe they are in the environment. Let's say, for example, they are genetically modified. Now, one thing you don't want to happen is that you have mixing of crops, where you have the genetically modified crops growing hand in hand with the traditional variety. You don't want them to mix, because remember, it's transfer of genes. You cannot recall the genes once they have really mixed it, were transferred to the other plant. So it's very important that we educate farmers as to the safe handling of those things. And going back to the biosafety project, we, as a member of the Biosafety Committee on the risk assessment, I've been trained on the safe handling of GM products, how to organize a field trial, and some of the implications of having these things growing side by side. So as I said, it's work in progress. We are not perfect, but we're getting there.
So do you have fields out there that you can go now and you can take farmers to as method result demonstrations to see exactly
Are you
what
talking
you're
about genetically modified stuff?
Yes.
Well, for the time being, remember the project just started a few years ago. And right now, a lot of the products that we have coming in, they're not labeled as to whether they are genetically modified or not. Now, in the future, if you want to grow a crop that is genetically modified, you have to have an application from the Ministry of Sustainable Development. That then the Ministry of Sustainable Development or Biosafety Committee can advise the Ministry of Agriculture that such and such a farmer, he has genetically modified crop, so that all the necessary measures can put in place.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, for example, in terms of, say, demonstration, the ministry personnel working with the farmer, would you have on hand, as we speak, a demonstration plot identifying, you know, genetically modified a plot vis-a-vis a non-one, and to, in other words, to educate the farmer?
For now, no, we don't have no
So
such thing.
do you intend to do
well, in the
such?
future, as I said, when the whole subject of biosafety and genetically modified crops will be growing out there, that will be done. Definitely, you have to assess the risk out there.
Yes,
You have
Manas?
to.
Very important, yeah, what Peter is saying is very true. But we need to, for example, you mentioned about Rank and Company, and these other companies that import plant material. They have to be very much into this into this area.
So are they part and parcel of the whole education and sensitization process?
Yes, because they have been invited to the biosafety committee meetings, so they are being updated. And the material, for example, that they import, for example, for food crops, these are most likely safe. These are through somoclonal variation. That's a traditional way of breeding, and there is very little genetic interference. So these are not GMOs. The plots that you might find here, of course, like it said, they're not genetically modified crops, but they are crops with which may have very little interference. That is somoclonal variants. For example, in bananas, with the banana black sigatoka management unit, there are a few plots with different hybrids of bananas resistant to black sigatoka, which are not GMOs, but they are somoclonal variants which may have a very slight modification of their genetic makeup.
So going back, as you mentioned, the tissue culture bananas, what impact that has had over the years with the importation of, at the time they were bringing in those tissue culture plants? What impact does that have on the biotechnology generally?
Well, of course, in order to derive these plants, you have to use the biotechnology techniques. For example, tissue culture is a biotechnology technique. It's the basis of all molecular work and breeding and so on. The plants were being imported, of course, for example, from Israel, and these were plants. Most of these plants are not susceptible to, for example, the black sigatoka disease. We're talking about the Vari and the Jaffa, and basically, the impact it had really was helping farmers to use less agrochemicals, because most likely the tissue culture plantlets would need, most times if you have them in the correct growing conditions, they would need the application of less insecticides to control for a lot of fungal diseases, and of course the application of fertilizers. So the impact really it had was that. But presently, there is a different trend, a different demand for these banana crops. We need banana crops that will replace the Cavendish type of banana, and at the same time be resistant to not only black sigatoka but the Fusarium wilt, which is also a dread disease.
In terms of impact of the tissue culture, in terms of the bananas, one major impact was that with the tissue culture, because I was working on that program, the production cycle, it was a little shorter, whereby the traditional varieties would take 9 months to harvest. Within 7 months, you were able to harvest the tissue culture. It's shut at 4 months.
Hold that thought. We'll do for a break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. We are due for another break. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
There are many opportunities in agriculture, and broiler production is one such enterprise. For further information, contact the Veterinary and Livestock Division at 468-5621.
Welcome back to the program. Yeah, but Cletus, you're talking about the impact. Those varieties that we have now, are they being tissue cultured for production?
I know some tissue culturing is done at the lab at Union. Yes, I think it has to do with some of the varieties that we have. The Valerie and the Lacatan and so on.
Yeah. And you're talking about the impact of the tissue culture.
Well, yeah, again, the consistency of the harvesting. Since the plants, normally with tissue culture, the plants you send out in the field, they're normally around the same age. So you're expecting everything will shoot at the same time, and you will harvest them at the same time. So it means, well, the farmer has a consistent harvest. In terms of managing his labor, the farmer will be able to manage his labor much better. You don't have to go out searching for one banana in 1 acre. You have to go back in the next acre, get 10. With tissue culture, it's more consistent. If you're harvesting, just harvesting.
So what about the plant crop? Is it consistent too with production?
Yes, it's very consistent with the production that you'll be looking at.
Okay, so are you saying now the farmers who are now into production of bananas, can you see the happy with the production levels as far as they are now?
Well, as I said, the tissue culture was basically around 2003 to 2007 we had the bulk of the program. But right now, I'm not sure whether there is that great demand for tissue culture plants out there with the farmers. Or I don't know whether some of the government, some of the agencies engaged in banana production, they're not pushing tissue culture. But in terms of, if you are checking in terms of climate change, what is going to happen, from drought to rainy season, the amount of water in terms of water resource management. These are some of the technologies that we're looking at in terms of the banana industry. You can look at tissue culture as one. If you want to increase the production, you can embrace the tissue culture technique. Because as I said, it's consistent. The farmer will be able to manage his labor much better with the tissue culture. Yeah, that is the right way to go.
The lab at Union, I was told, is going to be upgraded. And a lot of tissue culture management will be done there, not only for bananas, but other crops. Can you give us an update on that, Manas?
Well, yes, the lab will be upgraded with a vast number of different plant species. And not only that, there might be capacity to do virus indexing. So
what's that?
Basically, the screening of diseases, viral diseases, because you can import a plant via tissue culture to any part of the world and not know there is a virus in there.
Okay.
So we can do virus indexing of the variation of plants. Of course, at the tissue culture lab, there are bananas and yam. We do tissue culture of all these fruit crops and also ornamentals, orchids, anthuriums, and so on.
Okay, I'm just trying to maybe deviating a bit. I recall some time ago there was, of course, in St. Lucia, the demand for chicken wings is very, very high. And I remember because of that, somebody decided in the lab to develop a bird that would have or develop about 6 wings. And of course, with less feathers. And all of that is to cut down on the cost of production. What say you as far as a technology like this is concerned for the future?
Well, in the future, it might be very useful and it might be very important. Yes, it's good that you brought up livestock because we tend to focus a lot on plants.
That's right.
In the future, it will be very important in terms of food security. And the thing is, up to now, researchers they probably know or they probably don't. And it's not published as yet as to the effects onto human health. So the increase in chicken wings on just one chicken would be very important. And at the same time, people would be taking the health risks into the health checks into consideration.
So are you saying it's a health risk? Are you saying it's something that should be continued into the future?
Well, in terms of biosafety, the point is we're not sure. You never know what may happen with modern biotechnology, where you have genes from transgenic organisms being created. We take genes from you can take a gene from a fish or whatever, put it in a plant. The thing is, we have to approach these things with caution. We never know what will happen. Because the Catalina Protocol on biosafety, that is the main agreement controlling biosafety in the world. And that is one of the major principles. That is the principle of the precautionary principle. Yes, we sit now there saying, yes, it looks fancy. A bird with 6 wings. It's not how the product was made. It's the characteristics that are in those products that will make it, whether it is suitable for human health or not. It's the characteristics they both possess.
Okay.
Yes, in regards to that, sorry, Mr. Sidney, you see, you brought that up because right now a lot of experiments are being done and rats are being used as the experimental model because the rats have the same digestive tract as humans. They eat and digest food just like humans. So in rats, they've experimented that there are a lot of cancer tumors. So of course, there would be some suspicion that it might happen in humans. Humans might be, suffering and dying from more cancerous and more chronic diseases as a result of cancer.
All right. Chris, any final words from you because we're about to end?
Well, as I said, biotechnology is not new. It has been used for a very long time. And coupled with climate change and impending 9 billion population in 2050, that is a technology we cannot ignore. We don't have it in St. Lucia. Probably in the next 20, 30 years, the population will surpass 200,000. And we don't have the kind of land to produce the kind of crops that we're looking at. So it's a matter of increasing productivity. And one of those ways of increasing the productivity of what we have, of the land, is to introduce modern biotechnology.
Final words from you, Manas?
Yes, I'd like to encourage the stakeholders in agriculture to build capacity in that area, agriculture, biotechnology, because as much as our resources may be very limited, as much as we may show the farmers that we care for them, we do care for the farmers, we need to build capacity as much as possible so that we have experts, whether it be in the north and south, sensitizing and doing work in agriculture, biotechnology, dealing with mainly plants and animals for now.
I want to thank you all gentlemen for coming onto the program. I wish you all success and of course continue educating the populace, the younger ones, as far as biotechnology is concerned. So thank you for coming. You've been watching Agriculture on the Move. I would like to thank you for viewing. But before I leave, I just want to sound a word of caution. There are some, I don't call them farmers because I don't think farmers who are business persons would have the animals on the road, just loose on the road. Look, this is a hazard. This is danger. I mean, I had an encounter and luckily the oncoming vehicle had to blow me to tell me, look, there is a horse ahead. And I came feet into hitting that horse. I could probably be killed today. I also had a close encounter with cows on the Millennium Highway. People, please tie your animals. I don't think you are farmers. You do not own land. So why you want to own animals and to endanger others' lives? The lives that you endanger could be your brother, your sister, your aunt, your nenen. Please tie and control your animals in a controlled area. Thank you for viewing. I am Philip Sidney saying goodbye and see you again.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.